Hello binary option traders and forex traders. I do hope you had time to watch part number 1 and part number 2. They are extremely important to your success in binary option trading as long as in forex trading. Now I would like to move to some additional knowledge about different way of trading, asset trading, option trading, named boundary. Now normally in most binary option companies, brokers, you have 4 or 5 option trading. One of them is the high low, the second is touch down, touch up, you have the 60-second, and you have the boundary. Now the boundary is about remaining on the same boundary for a certain amount of time. It can be 10 minutes, it can be more, depends again on the broker you are working with. Now here it's very critical to understand the market, the forex market, indices and so on, when the market is more hectic and when the market is more calmed down, and when there are no fundamental announcements and so on. But beside that, you want to understand the behavior of each asset. Now, I can show you, for example, that in most time the dollar against the Canadian, and if you could see in part number 1 and 2, we had a very nice Raziel here that he changed direction, and normally when the dollar Canadian, the asset name dollar CAD, goes up, the Australian dollar will go down. Now, the way to look at it, the way to look at these two assets, I can make an overlay, and this is why I like this chart system, because I can use my overlay option, and I will put the Aussie dollar on the same chart as the dollar Canadian. Now, what you can see here, that when the Australian dollar goes down, the dollar Canadian goes up. They are in opposite direction. It's simple reason to that. They are both like commodity currencies, and in one asset the dollar is the secondary, the secondary one, and in the dollar Canadian the US dollar is the primary. Now, why it's so important? Now we are dealing here with two kinds of assets, two kinds of currencies. Now those currencies, when they are strong, they are both strong, and when they are weak, they are both weak. And therefore, if I will combine them together to a pair named Australian Canadian, you will see something very interesting, that during or when just between the end or during the UK session, and when just about the American session to be open, these assets remain without a move. So there are certain times in the market, just before the American market is open, the US or the Canadian market is open, that these two assets are remaining on the same range. Now, Australian Canadian can be one of those pair, the New Zealand Canadian can be the same, and if you understand the behavior of these assets, you know that in some times during daytime, during trading time, these assets in a short range remain on same boundary. So it's very important to learn how to choose the right asset for the boundary. This is first, and second, when to do it. See, for example, the British franc is the exact opposite of the Euro Briti. Now, it's very important to understand when currencies are more dominant and when they are less dominant. Most currencies in the market, most assets are quite the same. They have the same behavior, but they react in different way of speeding in different hour time during day trading. So if you know what so-called currency correlations, how the market behaves, for example, who leads the Japanese pairs is the dollar against the Japanese. If it goes up, all Japanese pairs will go up. It doesn't matter what's happened in other currencies. The dollar Japanese is the leader of the Japanese, and the dollar against the Swiss franc is the leader of the Swiss franc pairs. If it goes down, even the British franc will normally go down as well. You can see they are quite similar. They are quite in the behavior, in the direction. This is British franc, and this is the dollar franc. And you see the direction is quite similar. So if you are familiar with this behavior, first you can be more successful even in up and down trading option, but also in boundary. So in boundary there are some ideal pairs that you can use in order to gain more winning situation. If you are familiar with the hours, that there is more dominant currency that's moving faster, or they are moving sideways, depends on the hour. Now, in my opinion, even for forex traders, there is no way you will become successful in this market without understanding currency correlation. Currency correlation is a must. It's not just about technical trading. It's not just about resistance and support and Fibonacci level and pivot point. You need to understand the market, and in order to understand the market, you need to understand currency correlation. And this is one of the reasons I publish. Actually, it's the only kit around the world. It's a book plus DVD about understanding the behavior of the market, currency correlation. And if you add this knowledge to your arsenal of trading, you have a huge advantage on others. But when you are trading boundaries in a binary option, understanding the hours and the pairs will generate a huge advantage of choosing the right assets to trade in boundary. So currency correlation, great for boundary, and currency correlation in general is great for any forex or indices or commodities trader. Of course, I invite you to learn about it in my website, but again, boundary is one of my favorite trading options in binary option, because I know the behavior of the pairs in the time during daytime. What will be the behavior between the UK session and the American session? What will happen during the American session or the Asian session? And then I know exactly what kind of asset to choose that will provide me better chance of winning boundary trading. So learn about currency correlation in order to gain more success in binary option trading with the boundary. I thank you very much for watching this video. Bye bye.